I'm Punjabi. I grew up in Hyderabad. Like a lot of students in Hyderabad, engineering students, I too applied to universities in the US, got a scholarship, went there, studied, got a job with, got campus placements. I think I had some 4 or 5 offers. I started working with PricewaterhouseCoopers. That's the first phase of my life. Then when the projects that I got a chance to work on were great, and we have esteemed colleagues from TCS here, and a lot of respect to all of these firms. They have added so much value and created such a good name for India everywhere. PwC, of course, is a global firm. It has offices in India. So I was working with one of the clients, JC Penney, and those were the days internet shopping was not like how it is today. So our project was one of a kind. We were going to put internet kiosks in the store, so that if a customer walks into the store and doesn't find the t-shirt in the size or the color that they want, the store should not lose the customer. The customer can still order. For the first time, I met her in the US. And I would sit in the meetings for the project and think, is this how I'm going to spend the rest of my life? Help people who are already making a lot of money make more money. And I quit. I didn't discuss with my husband. I didn't discuss with anybody. I just quit. I was so sure that this was not what I wanted to continue doing. So fast forward, 20 years later, I'm still selling or helping to sell. But this time it is reusable menstrual pads. I think you'll agree. There's a big difference. And I'm glad for the choices that I made. That's led me here. So that's a short journey.
As Sujata ma'am mentioned, it's always a problem to every woman traveling. So how you came into this concept of Toiless?
We don't have to go into details of the kind of trouble that we face every time we step out of the house, looking for, when we travel, we are not sure whether we can drink a glass of water, because you have to think about all the cousins on the way, the friends on the way, the good toilets that you might, come across. And every time this happens, we knew that something has to be done, but we didn't know how to go about it. So luckily, recently when I was making a trip to Kasaragod during the COVID days, I love traveling, and the 2 years was really kind of putting a lot of pressure on all of us. So when I traveled, it was different from the travels that I had done before, because every time you could actually visit a cousin or a friend on the way, or there are like many good restaurants on the way where you are assured of good toilets. But during that trip, nothing was possible. We couldn't actually, we were not welcome in any of the houses, especially since I'm taking a tour like this, I was traveling around. I didn't want to take the risk of visiting people. So I ended up using the filthiest toilets, during that trip. And the innovative way in which I was traveling was, I was plugged into Clubhouse platform. Every person who joined the room was traveling along with me. So they were kind of setting up the itinerary for me. So people from across the world, the Malayalis, so they would say like where to visit, what to eat, what to see during my trip. And every evening I would narrate the story of the kind of troubles that we had in finding good toilets. So there were a lot of people who had actually come forward, and we were putting our heads together and was thinking that we cannot let this go like this forever. So we had to come up with a solution. So that is how the whole Toiless came into being. And toilet is a place where we literally toil. So we thought, make it less of a toil. That's why Toiless. We are helping them locate guaranteed clean toilets, which is according to our specs. So we have the specs are like the floor has to be dry, it has to have a health faucet, the hand shower, it has to have tissue paper, it has to have 2 hooks to put our chuni and bag, maybe a rack to put our phone and key, and a trash bin and things. These are the minimum specs that we have mentioned. So anybody who is willing to provide these facilities, it could be a house, it could be a shop, it could be a plant nursery, a wedding auditorium, Kalyana auditoriums, they are everywhere, right? And all these places have good toilets, but it was not available to public. And many of the things who are available to public, there was no guarantee whether it was up to this mark. So whoever is ready to do this, we would enlist them in a web app that we have created called Toiless. So as you travel, this will show the locations. And that is actually the innovation of this, because we are unlocking the dormant resources. We are telling people not to build any new ones, just use the ones that you already have, and that's a more sustainable way to go about it as well. Because just, optimization of resources is what we are trying to do here. Make available the ones that you have in these features, so that it's all a pay and use toilets, so they completely benefit out of everything. I'll get into details later.
So when coming to the Saukhya pads, as I mentioned, the innovation should be, it's a crucial part of any product or services. So in case of, in Saukhya's pad, so what is the real innovation or technology happen? Because there's a huge R&D wing working on that. There's a technology behind that. So what is that actually?
Let me ask you a question. Paper is made from trees. All of us know that. Do we know what the absorbent material in our sanitary napkins is made out of? The commonly used sanitary napkin. Most of us use that, or most of us use that at some point in our lifetime if we have shifted to other. If I told you that is a substance much like paper, would you believe me? So the gel is what, the super absorbent polymer is what makes it super absorbent. But what is the base? So cotton is the first answer that many of us give. It's not actually cotton. And if you've seen the movie Padman, it's depicted beautifully in that movie. He thinks it's cotton also, just like many of us do. It's a substance called cellulose fiber. It's not even available in India. It has to be imported. It is made by cutting down trees. So he pretends, if you again have seen the movie, it came so many years back, he pretends to be an importer, and he gets on the, he makes a phone call, overseas phone call, and then when the material arrives, it looks like cardboard, and he doesn't know how to use it. And then the dog is tearing it apart, and that finally gives him the clue, oh, this is how it has to be used. So one of the biggest secrets of our modern times, we are not told that sanitary napkins leads to the cutting of trees. So we do want to get sanitary napkins to more and more women, isn't it? Everybody should have sanitary napkins. Do we want more and more trees in some part of the world being cut? So that is what started sort of the need for trying to find an alternate substance. And banana fiber was what we settled on. We had a DST, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India funded project to find an alternative. And we looked at several options, including textile waste, including hemp. So there were a number of options. Why we finally decided to go with banana fiber was, actually it's very simple. If we look at nature, nature has provided so many things. I mean, the simplicity, and we just have to, I think, sometimes so banana fiber is a type of cellulose fiber. It is also derived from a tree, isn't it? It's derived from the banana tree trunk. The difference is that, so unlike, and I didn't know this because I guess I didn't grow up in Kerala, unlike an apple tree or an orange tree or a mango tree which fruits every season, a banana tree gives fruit only once, and then it's cut down. So it's from those cut trees that the fiber is derived. You're not cutting a tree to get the cellulose fiber to make the pads. And we didn't come up with the idea of banana fiber, although we did compare it with other substances. There are a few units in the world, including one or maybe two in India now, that are making disposable sanitary napkins using banana fiber, all in the quest to make things a little more sustainable. So we are the first ones in the world to make reusable pads from banana fiber. That is our innovation. Great deal of R&D went into that. About 3 years our project lasted, which is basically user trials and then all the prescribed lab tests and so on. India last year notified ISO standards for reusable pads. Banana fiber is a super absorbent. It's a cellulose fiber. It absorbs 6 times its weight in its dry weight. And we use the banana fiber. We don't treat it chemically or anything. It's just washed in turmeric water. Banana fiber by itself is antiseptic. The turmeric gives it, some more antiseptic qualities, I guess. Turmeric was suggested by Amma. And banana fiber has what is known as antispasmodic qualities, and it is very cooling. We have initiated scientific studies. We have published our first paper about, I think, last year or year and a half ago. When we first started, Amma had indicated to us, this should be studied, this should be investigated. Banana fiber has many therapeutic qualities, and we didn't know what to make out of that statement at that time. Now we have so much anecdotal evidence, and we never use it for our marketing or in anything. Reusable pads are anyways a far, far better option than disposable pads. And there may be many in the room who may be hearing about reusable pads for the first time, but definitely times are changing, and many these days are hearing about them, and in general the awareness is high. So our rashes are totally, many people experience rashes with disposables. Rashes is not an issue with reusables. But we have seen period cramps go away over a period of time also. So much anecdotal evidence for that, because banana fiber has this antispasmodal qualities. So it's a completely natural substance. Our grandmothers, and probably in South India, did that, wrapped it in a piece of cloth and used it. Of course, we use technology to kind of clean it and process it and shape it into the shape that we want. But otherwise, it's a pristine substance obtained from nature that is used pretty much the same way that nature provides us. It's available online. It's last 2 years gave us the opportunity to strengthen our online presence. So on our website and on Amazon, we get orders. Prior to that, so we work a lot in rural India, whether it is producing the pads or even as markets for the pads. We used to conduct awareness workshops. If you invited me here to do an awareness workshop, we never use these as sales opportunities. But over time, we learned to carry inventory with us. In fact, tomorrow is Menstrual Hygiene Day, and we are talking to 150 Kudumbashri women in Haripad. So this is why we are restarting our in-person workshops again, and we will be taking inventory with us. So if they want it, they can get it. We never ever sell at these workshops. They're purely for awareness. But if somebody wants, they are available. Otherwise, we are available online. Unfortunately, we are not at that point yet where you can walk up to a department store and get it. Today in India, there are 12 to 15 reusable pad brands. And I wish times change, and they change soon, and perhaps they will. So we did a small experiment in Chennai when we launched. We put it in 10 stores. And in some of the organic stores, of course, the product moved. But in some of the departmental stores and so on, no matter how much we tried, and those were the initial days also. So for a year, even the product would not move. So then we don't want to tie up inventory in that way. But times will change. I hope we can put them back in stores. And outer covering is cloth, and for reusable pad brands, like I mentioned, 12 to 15 brands are there in India today. So the inner absorbent also may be cloth. Cloths have a certain lifespan. So we say 3 to 5 years. You use it depending on the set you have. You may be using one pad, one time in a month, or you may be washing it and using it 2 times, depending on how many number of pieces you have. So some of us, have used even for 4 to 5 years, and they serve us well. My first set that I have used, I'm a reusable pad user, I have used reusable pads for a long time. And they've been available in the world for a long time, not just in India, it's a new thing. So I bought my first reusable pad set when I was living in the US. I remember paying $50 for 3 pads at that time.
So coming to you, Lekshmi, so whatever the products or services, we always say that success is always marked with the revenue or the enterprise model. So what's the real enterprise model for this Toiless?
So this is a pay and use toilet. And it's completely for the travel ally. We normally call them as the travel ally, whoever is associating with us, because if they are not only providing the restroom, they might be giving lots of other services, like maybe a trial room for you. For example, a boutique, they have so many trial rooms. If you want to, for after this meeting, if I want to dress up, change my dress and travel somewhere, I either again have to go to a cousin, or get into a hotel. But if they can provide the same facility, they can charge more. So in that web app, so when you click on that, it will ask you for your location. When you allow that, it will spot the toilets in and around you. And when you click on that, it shows the picture pops up of if it's a boutique, what are the services that they offer. If it's a child-friendly place, then you'll have a baby feeding bottle and the price, and is it open for men and women, and then get directions and you reach there. So it depends on the services that they offer. The charge depends on that. And once you, the kind of advantage that the travel ally gets is that the brand identity, the brand recognition, and the higher walk-in conversions. And based on if that person becomes a customer, she can always offer it as a complimentary sort of. So it's all completely under discretion of the travel ally. So these are the avenues through which they can, make benefit of this travel app. And also it could be an enterprise opportunity for many homes. They don't even have to have a homestay sort of a setup. If they have a toilet outside, they can very well become a part of Toiless. And along with that, they might be able to sell their vegetables, or offer something, a snacks or something, have a small, so I was saying, 90 uranda thanna volum they can make like 500 rupees just if 10 people walks in, right? And depending on the way they had been dealing, how cordial they are, by word of mouth, the people will be flocking to that place. And also, if you look at Kalyana Mandapams, there are so many in every panchayat, the kind of social conductivity that we have in Kerala. Every panchayat has a wedding convention center sort of, and everywhere you have toilets, well furnished toilets sort of. So I was thinking, youngsters, they can form a group, and maybe they can take for lease the toilets in these places and open it as a franchisee sort of. So they can have additional features over there, maybe a shower station, and something, maybe a working space with a free Wi-Fi and things like that for a quick catch up with work and things like that. So these are the avenues that is opening up along with this.
Okay, so what's the number of toilets right now in Kerala, and is it a part of CSR activity, something like that? Because if somebody won't approach you for this toilets, what is the real criteria for that?
So we have a Instagram page called toiless.in, and the bio, if you click on that, that also takes you to this web app. So that is how we are connected. Instead of developing a fresh app, because it's costly, and we are all volunteering in that. And the guys who are giving me the tech support, we have not even met yet. They are in Qatar, UK, US, and places like that, where we met through Clubhouse. So everybody who wanted to be part of this, wanted to be a change maker associated, and we made a team. So you can check out the posts in our Insta page, and we have given all the descriptions there. Whom to reach and what are the specs that we are looking at to become a travel ally and sort of. So now it's becoming one of the most powerful marketing tool in Kerala. So most of the resorts and homestays, they all want, because as you travel, if it's 10 meters away from the main road, there's no visibility for them. But as we travel, we'll definitely look for toilets as if a woman is traveling. So it will open up to all their Insta accounts, everything, those pictures, everything will pop up. So you can decide if it's, whether you have to take a break over there. And once you reach there, you never know once you get to know about the place, you might have your children's wedding at that avenue next time, right? So that is the way it's opening up to opportunities. Clubhouse, when my brother calls up from US, he says, "Are you at your house or in Clubhouse? Let me hear that first, then we'll talk." So I had been so addicted, and I knew that something good has to come out of it. So I understood the opportunity of the potential of that platform. That's why I thought when I travel, let me just open a room. And I was traveling like a Maveli during the Onam season, so I named that room Traveli. Like a Maveli, I was traveling, I was carrying chips and everything, and I wanted to meet the people in person whom I met in Clubhouse. I only heard the voices, right? So that is how the whole thing came up, and Toiless is completely a product of Clubhouse. So this is our mascot of Toiless, because she's the one who is going to let us teach about toilet etiquettes, toilet culture, or how you should leave the toilet once you come out of the toilet, and how you would wish to see the toilet, and also to develop an empathy towards the people who are working there as cleaners. If you're feeling dejected to kind of an aversion towards cleaning after yourself, how do you expect another person to come and clean after you? So have some kind of an empathy. It's only their financial condition that have made them to do such a job, right? So, and again, like, wipe the toilet seat, wipe the floor, put the health faucet back in the hook. It's actually a potty training for adults that we are trying to do through this. And through the app, it's so simple. In 2 steps, you actually reach the Toiless, the travel ally. And once you reach it, it's simpler steps. You just pee, you pay, and po. Pee, pay, po, so it's as simple as that.
So when coming to this Saukhyam pads, so we are pushing towards this menstrual cup also compared to the sanitary pads. So how is your market, looking forward in future also?
There are very good reusable options available. There's no need to be using disposable options anymore. If you're comfortable using a reusable cup, great. Go with that. We work a lot, especially pre-pandemic. We used to be in schools and colleges giving workshops. And some may argue, I'm not an expert, so I'm not going to, for a teenager, for young girls whose bodies are still developing, pads is the better option. So if young girls are, government has so many schemes for free distribution of pads. So we are trying to work with the government now to introduce reusable pads instead of disposable sanitary napkins. If a young girl is introduced to pads at Menarche, they say that these days it's not at 12 or 13, it's even as young as 9 or 10. Girls are getting their periods. Their bodies are still developing at that time. Not everyone is comfortable to insert a cup at that point of time. However, there is a good reusable option that is available for the girl. And, the only problem that people may think is about washing and drying. So there's just one small point that I want to make about that. The nature of menstrual blood, and this can be taught so easily to young girls, their mothers, the mothers, of course, have to know first. Menstrual blood is a waste product, but it's not in the same category of waste as urine and feces. Now, we may go through our entire lifetime not knowing that menstrual blood actually does not smell. It has no bad smell. We wouldn't know that because our sanitary napkins, our used sanitary napkins, have such a nasty smell, such an awful smell. But the smell is not coming from, if I cut my finger, and the menstrual blood, the blood that comes from here and the menstrual blood, there's not much of a difference. Because my body did not conceive some particular month, the body does not need the blood and so it lets it go. But otherwise it's full of micronutrients. It is not a waste product that, yuck, I can't touch it and all. Yes, our disposable sanitary napkins are like that. So the first thing that people are surprised when they use it is, how come there's no smell? So it's not very difficult to teach young girls to wash their own sanitary pads, not at all difficult. And young girls get introduced to such a product then when they are ready, and if they want to transition to a menstrual cup, that's great. But no need to have any sort of disposable products at all. There's plenty of good reusable options available. We don't need to cut down trees. We don't need to litter the planet. They say that a disposable sanitary napkin will take 500 to 800 years to decompose. We will go, our children, our grandchildren, their grandchildren, so many generations. But can we imagine that the sanitary napkins that we are throwing today, they will be around for hundreds of years?